Hello, fellow explorers. I front this webinar by saying I'm no expert in photography, and the biggest challenge I have today is to try and control three experts in photography. Having one photographer in the room is great. When you have two, there's 10 opinions on any photo, and when you have three, there's at least 100. So it's going to be fun and a challenge. We're aiming today to cover a lot of ground, so please bear with us and we'll try and keep on time. I will keep us on time. I'm joined by Verena Moraldi, who you may have seen in other webinars, our chief scientist. She is a frustrated photographer and has also worked as a photographer on board our vessels. We have Jan, who's one of our team working on MS Fram, but has also worked on MS Spitsbergen. And also we have a special guest, Ian, who is one of our explorers that sailed with us many times, but has also, as part of submitting his photographs, won one of our competitions. So his winning photographer, his winning photo was the lead slide that we had. So it's brilliant to have you all with us, and thank you very much for giving your time. Expedition photography, of course, is steeped in the early days and recording voyages of discovery. And very much at HX, we try and follow in those traditions, working on the history. But of course, we would be amiss by not showing this amazing picture of endurance, but also a fantastic read about Hurley and the ship sinking and rescuing his glass plates and sledging them across the ice. So we don't intend to sledge our SD cards across the ice when we do a trip, but very much taking those incredible images and memories with us. In the webinar, we will do a very short introduction to HX, but we're very conscious that we're talking about photography, not HX. And then we will go through a selection of the panel's favorite shots. We will ask them about their equipment recommendations, their top tips, a little bit about how you can come and join the action. And at the end, we will have a live question and answer session. But as Lee said, if you do have questions throughout the webinar, please add those to in the chat. And we have got a massive team behind. We've got Oscar, who's fresh off MS Roald Amundsen, one of our photographers as well, who'll be able to answer technical questions. We've got Saskia, we've got George, we've got Alice, we've got Ollie, and we've got Karen in the background. So a multitude of people to answer your questions as we go. So please use them and keep them busy. We've got almost 2,000 people registered for this webinar. So this is one of our biggest yet, which is brilliant. Right. Having said that, we're going to get on. Within HX, we look at the mix of adventure, comfort, and sustainability. So we really try and make you at home on our ships. We try and reduce our impact as much as possible, and we go to these incredible adventurous places. And with that, if you are new to expedition cruising, we use the ships as platforms to get you to these places, take you out in boats, do incredible landings and activities. So really off the beaten track, places you can't get to by any other way. In our fleet, we have 5 ships, MS Fridtjof Nansen and MS Roald Amundsen, our newest members of the fleet. Hybrid, released now just over 5 years old. Fram, coming up to 20 years old, one of our ships that goes sort of more in more sort of remote areas, including places like South Georgia, which some of our photos will definitely be featuring on from our panel. MS Spitsbergen, our northern Arctic ship, a lot of work in Spitsbergen, Greenland and Arctic Norway, and our ship in the Galapagos, MS Santa Cruz. So the photos that we'll be sharing today all come from all across our expeditions. So we'll give you a flavor from those ships and give you a real feel. To start us off, this is a condensed voyage recap slideshow video, sorry, that Jan has put together just to get us in the flavor. So I will just play this short video to get us going. Fantastic. Brilliant. So that's a great start, Jan. Of course, we're talking about photography, but of course, in that capturing images and video, of course, is an important part. But today we are going to concentrate on still photography, but very much a way of capturing those. So what we have done is we've asked Jan, Ian, and Verena for some of their favourite shots, and we're going to sort of talk through those and build on a lot of the questions that you sent us before the webinar to do that. So Jan, we've got some. We're starting off with some puffins. Tell us a bit about these shots.
So I will start a little bit generally. To be a photographer is a dream come true for me because I worked as a musher in Svalbard, and I fell in love with photography because of the light, and I love sharp, colorful pictures. So I had absolutely amazing light on the Hebrides when we were sailing with the MS Spitsbergen. So what I'm trying to teach our guests is how to capture as sharp as possible and as colorful as possible photo. That we can talk about it a little bit later because we are also, of course, a little bit limited with the time. If Tudor will move to another photo, it's actually puffin as well, but I'm very OCD. I'm so OCD, so I call it CDO because it must be in alphabetical order. And it actually took me 4 hours before I was able to capture heart shape out of the puffin heads. Because as you probably know, puffins are always meeting in the same burrow with same birds, so they are monogamous. And I believe that photography could have like a narrative inside, which makes it beautiful. So the whole point of this photo was actually to capture heart shape of their heads. And that brings me to the most important thing about my photography. Photography is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be thousands and thousands of pictures you will not see. It's more about have an idea and then try to execute it.
Absolutely, and I think that's that fun part is really important. Fun and memories, and capturing those memories. But what an incredible image.
Thank you.
And it tells the words. And we're going to move on. We're going to continue a theme. The aim is a discussion. So Ian and Verena do chip in if you want to challenge, or all three of you. We're aiming for a conversation. But we're moving on to another image where we've got two birds. Verena, this is one of yours. Tell us a little bit about this lovely image.
Well, this one actually continues working on what Jan just mentioned, because this is a picture that tells a story. This is a picture that I waited a long time to achieve, to kind of get the penguins holding hands and looking at each other and telling a love story. This picture was taken in Cooverville Island at the very beginning of the season when everything is white and pristine, as you can see. This is also one of the only times that you get to have these conditions when everything is white all around you and you manage to isolate the penguins like this. So yes, it's being patient, having an idea, and being very lucky to conceptualize that idea into a beautiful picture. Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's the perfect love story.
It is.
And also almost making a heart between the flippers and the head. I haven't noticed that before.
Exactly.
Ian, you were going to say something, I think.
I'm in awe, to be honest. My two fellow photographers here both spend hours waiting for the perfect shot. I don't have that patience, sorry.
But I think that's a really good point though, Ian, because as a professional photographer, we're all jealous because they get the time to get the professional shot to share the memories with all our guests. Whilst as a guest, you don't have so much time. So I think that's a really good point about how to, for me, the non-expert, the point and shoot piece. But it's capturing those memories in the best way. But we're going to come on to some more pictures. Verena, you're as well as being a photographer, the ornithologist. So we've got quite a few pictures of penguins. So tell us a little bit about these as well.
Penguin lover, yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is again another time when I waited for the perfect opportunity. I was stationed in Half Moon Island, where you have to go over a little pass to move between the landing site and go visit the main penguin colony. So I was stationed there, and again in November, and I was just seeing the penguins coming back from the ocean and popping out of the snow where I was standing, and I just found that amazing to be able to capture the little guys just popping out like, hello, I'm here, I'm back. So again, it's a nice story to be told when you're back home, and you can relate to all the difficult travel that they do going up the very steep mountains and hills to go back to their nests. So yes, stories.
Gorgeous.
There's always a story
There's
behind
always
a
a
picture.
story. Yeah.
There's always a story. And talking of stories, what about these guys with a dried bit of kelp?
Well, there you go again. This is on Magdalena Island in Argentina, and we were so lucky to be able to visit this Magellanic penguin colony. And these are the most expressive penguins that I have ever encountered. Their courtship is so intense, and they were moving their heads in every direction, and here again is just waiting for the exact moment. I saw this beautiful dry algae standing next to the penguins, and it is like again telling a story. Oh darling, have you seen this? Would you think it will look amazing on the living room? And yeah, just being patient and capturing and having a setting the scene as well. How do you want this to look like in your brain, and then being super satisfied that you achieved it.
And I think we'll come out a bit later, but playing with colors, I think is and this the contrast with the green comes out, and I think how and obviously penguins are very black and white, so those areas where we do have color as well really give a different expression and a different story.
Yes, indeed. And you always need to make sure that the background reflects what you're trying to say as well with your image.
Talking of backgrounds.
Oh my goodness. That's me again. I think I am guilty of loving penguins very much.
Yeah.
So that one is in Penguin Island, and well, there, to be honest, I didn't know what to photograph. It was amazing. The water, the ocean, you had this little swell, the sun was shining. It was overcast, but still the sun was super strong on the ocean. The penguins were there getting ready to go to the sea, and you had that amazing iceberg in the background. So it's difficult to know where to shoot there. So I tried to get everything following the rule of three of thirds in that picture. Yeah.
So Jan, you're a fully employed professional photographer right now, although we've got, I wouldn't, of course the rest of the panel are more than professionals we've seen from the images. The rule of thirds, what is the rule of thirds?
Rule of thirds is basically one of the basic composition rules. So if you divide your screen into 3 columns and 3 lines, where those are meeting, you should actually use your subject. So of course, all rules are here to be broken, but if you will just Google basic composition rules, you will get a S-curve, you will get a rule of thirds and different ones. And it's actually really, really nice to follow. And when we talk about this, there is a really good advice, I believe. Yeah. Just shoot 10% bigger, because then you can use crop and you can nicely put the subject in the rule of thirds. And
Ian, has Verena followed the rules here? Is it a good shot?
Absolutely. Yeah, love it. I would also point out that by clever use of depth of field, so the penguins are sharp in the foreground, and the icebergs and the land in the background are actually slightly soft, and that emphasizes the subject in the foreground while not detracting from the very, very interesting background. Love the arched iceberg. Fantastic.
Yeah, good. Well, all gorgeous shots. Okay, we're now going on. We're moving away from penguins. Jan, this is one of yours. A leopard seal almost having a sleep in the water, maybe, or tell us about this one.
Yeah, this is kind of photography I love to capture. So I love to capture animals freezed in their movement. And for a quite long time, I was actually making mistake that my shutter speed was too slow. If you're capturing animals, always don't forget to have a burst function. So I really like when I take landscape photos, I will take only few. I'm really thinking about my composition, about the light, and about everything. If I will have an encounter like this, I can shoot 6,000 photos in 2 minutes. And I don't care because I will delete them all after. All I want to have is picture like this, where the expression is proper. And yeah, that's it. So burst function, fast shutter speed, and automatic ISO. Don't care about the aperture, but that's the thing. You need to get basic training to change your shutter speed to be able to photograph animals in the motion.
It's such a stunning photo, isn't it? It just talks to you. Yeah.
Also, maybe one more thing.
Yeah.
And it's fun as well, because I had so many wildlife encounters with my guests, even in the even from the Zodiac boats, etc. Try to read the animal, because very often we are taking hundreds of photos and we are not focusing on the animal behavior. Very often they are repeating the behavior they were doing before. So if you read the animal a little bit and you know how the animal is behavior, you can basically wait for your moment. And yeah, I think that it's one of the most important things.
Yeah, no, that's a really good tip. Then Ian, we're keeping on with a bit nice contrast here.
Yes, indeed.
Tell us about this. Is great. I love this one.
Well, imagine there you are, open your front door, and you find this guy sitting right outside, because that's what this is. This is a house in Baltra Island, the Galapagos, and there were several of these guys just lounging around, enjoying itself. For me, it's special because the colors, blue and yellow colors, go very, very well together. And so that seemed to make something more about the shop. I also love getting eye contact with the creatures. If they're looking at me and I'm looking at them, you think, okay, we're thinking something here. I'd love to know what you're thinking, but and also on a personal level, to have gone to the Galapagos and to have seen these incredible creatures everywhere, and they are absolutely fearless. They have no fear of humans whatsoever. It's a remarkable experience.
Yeah,
beautiful.
No, it's magic. Yeah, no,
it's
blue and yellow, very good. And we've got some different colors here. Verena, this is one of yours. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, well, this is a very typical bird in the Falkland Islands. It's the Austral or Falkland thrush, and they are everywhere. So you would think it's a boring bird to shoot because you see it every time you turn your head around. But if you then try to find a specific picture that will highlight the birds, but also the environment around the birds, it's that's what I tried to do with this picture. I really like how you have the two birds sitting opposite on this fence, very worn by the strict or harsh weather of the Falkland Islands. And then again, you are also, I chose this one because it's kind of an example of one of the photography rules that you could learn, which is following lines. in your picture. So maybe Jan, since you explained the rule of thirds, would you want to talk a bit about the following lines as well?
To simplify it, more time, the viewer will watch your picture without realizing what is actually happening there. The more lines is there, more textures, etc., then more attention you are getting, and then the better photo is. So you can see one line, second line, third line, and the first. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. There is so much happening. It's similar like in gastronomy.
Yeah.
You like crunchy, sweet, hot, cold, and when you have, I'm usually saying that like good photo is like a good Italian food. 3-4 ingredients, but those must be absolutely perfect, and then it creates great photo. I love it. Different levels. It's you make the photo to look 3D, and I'm doing quite a lot of videos right now, but actually to make still picture alive, that's what is photography about. And we are losing it a little bit because we all have devices and taking thousands and thousands and thousands of photos. But to make still alive, that's what the photography is actually about, at least for me. I love it.
So talking of bringing things alive.
Stunning, absolutely stunning.
This is a funny story. So imagine that you're sailing somewhere close to Puerto Natales in 120 kilometers per hour wind and 5 meters waves. And I'm having workshop birds in flight. And I'm just saying, oh my God, there will be nothing. So, hey guys, let's just have a look on the deck if there is something. And I can see a bumblebee. And I'm just like, what is that? A bumblebee. So this is green-backed firecrown, which was getting sheltered by Fram going 14 knots. So you know how the hummingbirds are flying. So there was lots of wing beat, then flying, lots of wing beat and flying. And I'm using this photo to show that many of the modern cameras, if you have fast enough shutter speed and good focus, that's important with the animals, good focus, you can photograph almost everything. And just follow the story. One of our employees had a sister on the vessel, and I'm doing this workshop and I'm calling it burrito photography, burrito. So Maeva, Maeva, it's our employee, our fantastic assistant expedition leader, was asking me, what did you tell my sister? She is running in France and shouting burrito and taking photos of the birds. So this is burrito photography. Good focus, fast shutter speed, and freeze the animal in the movement. And then magic can happen. I love this one.
That's amazing. Love the story, Jan. Thank you.
More than welcome.
Yeah. And here we go, Ian.
Back in the Galapagos again. We'd actually climbed up a hill overlooking the lagoon. And as the sun rose, so the reflection of the sky into the water effectively created this amazing minimalist view. And the real challenge was actually finding a small enough number of flamingos that were doing interesting things all at the same time. So I took about 40 pictures, and this is the one I like the most. But it's minimal. I'm not sure whether it matches any rules in terms of composition, because it's got right at the border on the top left and the bottom right. But hey, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, Jan, does it pass the test?
Yeah, absolutely.
Will it feature in your boys' portfolio at the end?
No, I'm not doing it. I'm so sorry. But that's not out of lack of respect. That's because I'm very OCD and I'm doing it my way.
Love it.
I've broken.
Yeah.
And this is mine again as well. Alaska, is it the tufted puffin?
Yeah.
We had a very, very grey, overcast, misty day, and as we were slowly sailing in the calm sea, the birds in the water were being scared by the ship and taking off. And it was tough, but I wanted to absolutely do as Jan did, freeze the water. And this is the effect. And what I actually learned was when the puffin takes off, it's actually slapping the water with its wings. And so you can see pairs of circles leading up to where the puffin itself is.
It's great. Yeah, I've just been very lucky to be on an Alaska trip. In fact, I'm still in Alaska, but yeah.
Nice.
So witnessing this this firsthand they're amazing. Love the puffins.
And
Yeah.
the little splash of color.
Yeah.
Everything else is great. Just that little, just the crest there.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you.
So we go from the small to the big. The polar bear, Jan. We've got a couple of shots of bears now. Of course,
Yeah.
a highlight, but as within all these images, we're not going to zoos. These are all captured in nature, and we don't know what's going to happen next. But so capturing and being out looking with your binoculars or with your camera, all very important. But tell us a bit about the polar bear.
I came roughly 10 years ago. I came to Svalbard in complete darkness, and I started to guide with 30 dogs in the wilderness. So I have a strong relationship with polar bears in general. I admire them. And this photo is roughly from 1 kilometer, because of course we are following the regulations, and I believe that it's a right thing to do. And this is kind of photo you can expect that you will get from your trip in Svalbard with us. It was taken with 600 millimeters lens and 1.4 extender, so equivalent of 900 millimeters. And the whole thing is, again, Italian cuisine. It's very simple. It's a beautiful glacier. Then you have a Arctic stone scree and the polar bear. What the fun is, he was yawning, but he looks like, I'm the king. No, he was actually yawning. But that's the beauty of the photography. So sometimes the expression looks slightly different than it is appearing.
So maybe from the king to the queen.
Oh yeah. And this, I was waiting for this moment almost 10 years, and we were in the sea ice, and then we parked our ship after the cruising, and then from 1.5 kilometer, mother with 2 calves actually started to walk to us. They stopped roughly 50 meters from the vessel. I can tell you, we will never promise you experience like this. We never do that, but many people on board was actually crying, and it was me and some expedition team members and some guests. These are 2 cups of year in an absolutely beautiful state. They were gorgeous. If you can see the nose, they were feasting on the whale carcass, I believe, because they were all bloody on the nose. And the behavior of the cubs is super playful. So the mother was like 100 meters away, and the cubs were playing, they were cuddling, and also bringing me to another thing. We have a webinar, so we are using white photos, but very often you actually using portrait orientation. So think about what are you photographing, and then decide if you want to go landscape or portrait, because this piece of ice is definitely telling you take the photo portrait.
And I think one of the important things here, not about photography, but it been everywhere we go, is wildlife approach distances, regulations, compliance, and that's very important for all animal species, whether it was Ian stepping over iguana outside his door in the Galapagos or polar bears. So there are strict regulations, and adherence to those regulations are very important. So the difference is in terms of those distances, and every species more or less has a different different distance that you can be, and of course in this case, and this was a trip, this was only about 10 days ago, is that right? Yeah,
that was 10 days ago, and you are completely right about the distances. I know that there was a question about other animals in Svalbard. When we have a good wind, we can go like 50-60 meters from the walruses, which is absolutely exquisite. wildlife experience, because walruses in Svalbard are mostly males. So we can go closer if the wind is in our favor. There is an absolutely stunning bird life. Alcafjellet, Verena would definitely told us about. So yeah, there is a plenty of wildlife on Svalbard.
Yeah. So we're going to move a little bit away from wildlife. Of course, wildlife photography is amazing and a skill, but of course we're sailing in incredible places with these incredible landscapes. Verena, I think you were thrown out of the webinar briefly, but glad to have you back. Tell us a little bit about this photo. Incredible photo. Yeah.
This one was taken in Svalbard, and I mean, I have been super lucky. Not very often you get to have these conditions anywhere in the world where you have a super calm sea that reflects the amazing environment that you are like in, like a mirror. It's just yeah, it was breathtaking. And of course we were on board the Spitsbergen. Those of you who know that ship will know that it has one of the most amazing outer decks, where you can go from the front to the back of the ship in no time. And all the guests were out on deck this day, just enjoying this amazing view of the landscape. It's beautiful.
I believe that it's Seligerbreen, close to Monaco Breen, right?
Yes,
close to the Monaco Glacier. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And Jan, from hard rock to hard ice.
Yeah, the longest glacier front in the northern hemisphere. What should we tell more? This is the famous Austfona. It's the second biggest island in Svalbard. It's divided to two parts: Eastern Glacier and Western Glacier. And the Eastern Glacier is having a glacier front which is from 180 to 220 kilometers long. If you're lucky, we are stopping by quite often if the conditions are allowing on both of the trips we do in Svalbard. And if you are lucky for weather like this, it's absolutely amazing experience. You can also see waterfalls quite often in Braswellbreen. So amazing place. Just a sail by it's incredible.
Yeah, the scale of nature. And talking about scale of nature, Ian, this is
yes.
These are some of yours. Tell us a little bit about these.
Yes, indeed. These are both obviously Antarctic shots. They're both intended to demonstrate the technique of taking a panorama. You might find there's this massive scene in front of you and the lens on your camera isn't wide enough. If so, there's a trick photographers use, which is to do a panoramic sequence of shots where you hold the camera in the vertical position and then go click, 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 and stitch them together afterwards. If you're going to do that, you end up with massive files, and the originals of both these pictures are enormous. They really are. And you need software, obviously, that can process them afterwards. The other point to make is that if you're going to do panoramics, practice it before you go, because you need to be able to hold it steady and horizontal, or it just won't work. And the other one is exposure must be manual, so it's the same exposure for every picture in the sequence. The top one, that is Elephant Island, and in particular Point Wild, where Shackleton left behind most of his men while he set off on the James Caird for South Georgia. And the lower picture is South Georgia. That is Fortuna Bay, and that is the glacier that Shackleton, Crean, and name escapes me, came down on their way to Stromness to seek help.
How did you achieve this weather on Point Wild? that's the important question. Oh my God, beautiful.
You know, you've just got to travel with me, Jan. That's the way.
I would love that.
Okay, we're talking a lot, which is great, and these incredible images, but I'm also conscious of time, so we're going to move a little bit quicker. But these are some they're just also great. We could talk about every shot and the stories behind them for hours. But Jan, Northern Lights, and we get questions about photographing the lights, and this is a stunning shot.
Northern Norway is one of the best places in the world where to photograph northern lights. I'm chasing them for a long time. And the thing is, have your batteries ready. When it's -50, have your batteries on the body, tripod, and I would use wide lens, which is starting with aperture 1 point something, 1.4, 1.8. If you want to capture stunning northern lights pictures, your aperture on the lens must start with number 1. And also, internet is full of photos when you see like a green blob, lots of green color. From my perspective, that's not a professional northern lights photo. You can see her dance. So that means shutter speed 1 to 4 seconds and capture the dance of the northern lights. And this is close to Alta. I believe Spitsbergen is having now some new Norwegian winter itineraries. So yeah, for me, that's the trip I would go because it's absolutely stunning up there, beautiful light, orcas, humpbacks, northern lights. Yeah, that's the place to be.
January, February, March.
Yeah, so
26.
good.
Yeah, amazing. And we're changing from those type of colors. We've got this one, Verena. We've got some incredible colors here and playing with the colors. Gorgeous.
Yeah, with the depth of field, I mean, we haven't talked about that either, but it is a very nice way to isolate your main object from a very colorful background, like is the case here, but still have the background being part of the image. So here I just blurred the whole background and focused on the beautiful tulips that were in the front. And this is also in Norway, in north
nice.
of Bergen, in a beautiful fisher village. But yeah, I guess we're going to talk about this a little bit on tips and tricks about feel of depth and all of that.
Yeah.
Depth of field.
Fantastic. Ian, yeah, you went, hi, you know
Right.
that.
Yes, indeed. So we've talked about the penguin love story. The story behind this one is this is a human love story. These are a young professional couple from very, very different backgrounds who traveled with us on the Fram to the Antarctic, where they were married by the Fram's captain. And one day, I just happened to catch them enjoying the rainbow. It was that simple, an opportunist moment.
Gorgeous. And the scale of the landscape, I think, with just it's perfect composition.
I'm very often saying that photography is a visual storytelling. That's it, like a visual storytelling, telling the story by capture. Nice.
Talk of telling stories. Another one, Ian.
This is another one of mine. I love reflections. It doesn't matter whether it's reflections on the water, glass, in this case, the Zodiac Ops visor. Lovely colors there. And there you can see everyone in our boat. I don't quite know where I am in that lot. And then just to add a bit more context, of course, the ship behind is Fram. But deliberately, Fram out of focus because the focus is actually on the boat top and the people in the boat. And you can see the sun is rising there because we are actually in Deception Island.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And it also follows the rule of thirds. Now, this is another one of mine. And attempting to be doing something a little bit different with these landscapes. There was a time when I would have absolutely done everything possible to get the people in the foreground out of my picture. And then I realized I was missing a trick here, because if you cover the expedition team guy with your hand, you lose something in the picture. And in fact, being right down there parked in the corner breaks all the rules, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, it provides an anchor that means you're constantly moving between the ship, the Zodiac in the background and the mountains, and then back to the expedition team lead in the foreground. For me, it works. I hope it works for you too.
Certainly does.
This is great shot.
Yes.
Thank you. This is me again. This is Deception Island again. And believe it or not, this is a color shot. I haven't made it monochrome. I didn't shoot it in monochrome. That's just the way the light was. The sun is rising, lots of clouds and mist, and therefore it threw these two crosses and one of the other guests from the ship into silhouette. And I love the fact that there's the three, almost the rule of thirds, not quite, but nothing's perfect. The atmosphere, the experience of being on Deception Island, is something, it really is something else. So very, very powerful memories.
Yeah, really powerful picture. Yeah, totally. Right. We're going to move away from some pictures, but to talk about some recommendations of kits, and of course, there's a whole world of those. So I'm gonna ask each of you for bearing in mind time as well, guys. What's your favorite brands? We'll start with Ian.
I've been shooting at Olympus for about 15 years, so I'm going to go with Olympus, now called OM Systems. For me, it's a small, lightweight camera, and every lens you use with the Olympus is effectively double the focal length. So my 100 to 400 mil lens is the equivalent of somebody else's 200 to 800 mil on a full frame camera. It also means that because it's small and light, I carry two bodies always, and that reduces the need to change lenses when you're actually on the go or in the Zodiac. I just switch between the two cameras with the two lenses on.
That's a good tip, having two bodies, and of course, or every photographer has multiple lenses, you know. So it's yeah. And Verena, how about you? What's your favorite?
Well, I started with Nikon and remained with Nikon until Sony came up with the mirrorless. But I still have all of my buddies. And yeah, I also travel always with two when I take photos. It's been a while, but always two buddies and camera and lenses, so that you don't have to be changing on the field. If you can avoid that, that is the best thing you can do for the sake of both your camera and the lenses.
And yeah, come on then, Jan.
Yeah, I'm a Sony guy.
Funny guy.
Sony till I die, hopefully. And yeah, I'm using mirrorless cameras. I have way too many bodies and way too many lenses. But the whole idea with two bodies and two lenses is really nice. And another thing which I quite like, when I'm on the landing side, for example, thinking about landscape pictures, I have a one lens on the way to the final point, and then I will swap the lens and we'll have it on the way back. That's, for me, that's another way how, or for example, when I want to carry only one lens, I will start with a wildlife lens. I will take the wildlife photos and then I will take the landscape photos. It's my biggest recommendation for most of our guests from the experience is a bridge camera with big enough card, something like a 220 to 600. And from experience, it's very much better than changing the lenses all the time. And yeah, that would be my biggest recommendation, because the bridge cameras these days, I can say Sony RX4 are just very, very powerful, 24 megapixels, good sensor, and great for kind of voyages we are having.
Yeah, brilliant. And if in terms of, I think you mentioned the bridge cameras and what they do, but obviously the plethora of camera kit is massive. So from the lenses, bridge cameras, etc., etc. What would be your one go-to lens?
Oh, you have different approaches. You can take mobile phones, enjoy the nature, and take photos of your onboard photographer. And I think that's amazing, because I can promise that in last 5 years, I saw most of my wildlife encounters through the camera, which is not the same. Most of my Northern Lights, I was just adjusting settings. So if you, I know that you want to have your photos, but take few of your photos and then leave it on us, because the lens I brought to Svalbard now, or the kit I brought, one camera and one lens worth together something like 20,000 pounds. So I understand that you will not bring it, of course. And then the photos you will get from me should be good, and you can enjoy the nature. That's the thing.
Yeah. Enjoy and have fun, capture memories, but of course we will show a slide in shortly about that. We do, our professional photographers provide a logbook of the best shots from the trip, which you will all get on a trip. Of course, well, you know, one of the things, maybe Verena, I'll ask you about phones, because I know sometimes you're not carrying a camera and you're very much into the latest phone to take photos.
Well, I have always been Apple, I must admit. I don't know about the other phones. But I mean, the camera and the capabilities with the iPhones is just amazing nowadays. So yeah, you can really create a nice memory album with your phone only. And like Jan said, be there, enjoy it, take it in, and then if you want to blow up the pictures, then use the ones the photographer took.
Absolutely. And you can say that it's your picture. I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the functionality of phones is pretty amazing. But you know, the combination, of course, is really important. But capturing those memories, having fun, but also that reflection is really important. I think one of the things that in every webinar now, we have to have a picture of Ollie, who's our director of customer communications, we'll call it. But of course, I think one of the really important things here is making sure we've got the you've all got protective natures for your equipment, because we don't want your camera to get wet. And of course, we're operating in a pretty harsh environment, having dry bags, etc. Yeah. And any tips from you guys on those type of things?
Yeah, if I may, when it's very cold, when it's below 0, I'm usually recommending my guests, I know that it's painful, but leave your camera in your camera bag when you bring it back on board. Because if you have your camera in -5 degrees or something like this in Antarctica, and then you bring it in +20, the condensation will create actually moist and kind of water inside of the camera. So the best way is, when you're outside, take your card if you want to have a look on the pictures, and then let the camera defreeze in your room slowly. Don't just take it out immediately and watch the pictures, because that can be dangerous and it can easily destroy the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing which we've mentioned about, you know, making sure you've got enough batteries, making sure you've got enough memory cards. If you've got a computer and you want to bring that to do some editing, then all those things, depending on the level of those, and we've kind of teased through all that as we've gone through. But we're gonna move on. These are some of your recommended books to take. But of course, I'll ask Alice in the background to screenshot this and put it in the chat. But some really good books on expedition photography, but also the tips, but also, of course, some incredible photographs from Hurley with endurance again. Talking about all the photos we've had have been incredible, and thank you, the three of you, for absolutely sharing the memories behind your pictures. But on all our trips, the photographers like Jan and Oscar in the background will share the logbook, which will be 150-ish photos, and also the voyage slideshow at the end of the trip. And you will get those as a digital download, which you'll be able to pull out those and mix with your own photos and your own memories. So don't forget to download those when you get there. If you've really loved this webinar and you want to join one of our trips, of course, we would love you to. we do have some incredible offers right now. So please do look at those. And because you've joined us on this webinar, we'd like to offer you a further 5% discount. So please use this code HS Web Events 25, which again I'll ask Alice to screenshot and put in the chat. So you've got that. So that offer's available until the end of August only. But some great offers, and to be able to join the likes of Jan on some trips to South Georgia this season. If you're wondering about our destinations, we do have a suite of different webinars on the different destinations. And again, this is a link to those different destinations to give you an idea from myself, Verena, Karen, and some other experts. So yeah, if you're interested to watch some more about our destinations, and please join in there. You're in the webinar, but just in case, again, if you want details, then please phone our customer support team. We've got George in the background answering questions as well. He's part of our customer support team. So please do make a note of that. And again, Alice will put those in there. I'm going to stop sharing screen now. And Ollie, featured in one of the photographs with wet and covered in his accessories, is going to join, and he will talk us through some of your questions. We'll try and answer some questions live. I've just got to work out how to stop sharing screen.
Thanks, Judah. Forget where's Wally, where's Ollie, eh? That's the
where's Ollie? Oh, here's Ollie. Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant presentation, guys. So thank you very much for that, and thank you everybody for joining today. That's truly inspirational content there, and loved every minute of that myself. So hopefully our audience did as well. And we've had an absolute ton of questions. Oscar has been amazing in terms of answering all your photography specific questions that the rest of us have no hope of answering. So thank you, Oscar, in particular. We've had about 120 odd different questions. So there are some that have been saved for live, and we're probably going to overrun by 5 or 10 minutes, just to let everybody know that. So let me go straight to the question list and start hitting our expert panel. So the first one, and a few people asked about this as you were going through your favorite pictures, was the type of equipment that you use to get those shots. And you covered that kind of high level, but maybe on Jan, for example, with the seal shot, that one in particular was getting a lot of questions about the equipment you used for that particular shot. So if you'd like to go first, please, Jan, on that one. And then we'll go around to Ian and
so for the seal shot, I had 400 millimeters fix, 2.8 aperture with Sony A1 body, and so that's quite high level body, and also the lens. What I think is more important, because in photography we are always getting to the border of what camera can actually capture, but I'm always explaining to my guests that that's not important. It's every camera has border somewhere, but it's about to be able to focus and shoot properly. And of course camera for 20,000 euros with the lens will do something else than the other camera, but every camera can shut fast, and also you can focus good. So yeah, that was 400 GM and A1, but I would concentrate on the fast shutter speed and good focus on the head of the seal.
And Jan, actually, before we move on, there was another question around the seal picture, which was extremely popular. How did you get so low to the water for that particular shot? Were you in a Zodiac or?
Yeah. We were on the Zodiac. What was actually happening? We were somewhere on Peninsula, and we had such a playful leopard seal which was following every Zodiac going there and out. So we were always disappearing and then coming back. So we were slowing. All of our guests actually saw the animal. And what I'm doing sometimes when I can, I will put my lens close to the water. You shouldn't do it, because it's not the safest thing to do. But another composition rule, and it's not only about the seals, you can do it with your kids or animals. Get to the eye level of the animal, because then you can see, and Ian was talking about it, that's about the communication. If you have a chance on Svalbard, we can lie down. That's beautiful. In Antarctica, we don't do it because the avian flu, but if you have a chance, or back UK, Germany, Australia, go to the level of the creature you are taking photo of, and it will be much more dynamic.
Yeah. And on that note, Ian, your iguana photo is amazing, and I'd love to know the equipment that you used for that.
Basically just one of my Olympus OM1s and a 12 to 100mm zoom lens. Nothing terribly exotic. It was actually the only camera and lens that I took with me on shore that day. So it's just fortunate that you don't have to worry about the animals running away. He was probably more impressed with my camera than I was.
Amazing. And Verena, and your penguin shots, also absolutely stunning. What did you use?
For those ones, I used my Nikon D4 with my favorite lens, which is the 70 to 200 2.8 aperture, which is incredible. Super sharp images always with that lens.
Great.
And I mean, penguins, Antarctica, you all are 5 meters away from them. So, and only a 200mm already allows you to take a very nice close up of the penguins as well, without breaking any rules.
Absolutely. There were quite a few questions around tripods. So, Verena, Jan, Ian, any comments, thoughts on what you take on our expeditions? I mean, Ian, as a guest, is probably best place to comment.
Well, I have this nifty carbon fiber tripod because it weighs only about half a kilo. I bought it. I've taken it on numerous trips to the Antarctic, to Alaska, to Iceland, to the Galapagos. I've never used it.
Really?
The Olympus cameras have exceptional inbuilt stabilization, and I found that if I needed to support my camera on board the ship, I use a little beanbag and rest the camera on the side of the ship.
Love that.
And that's much cheaper. And bearing in mind that when you're going to places like the Antarctic, there is a weight limit on your carry-on bag. At least there is for us mortals. And there's no way I would put any of my camera equipment in the check bag. So I've got to be able to carry it all in under 8 kilos.
Yeah.
I think,
but a good solution to not carrying a tripod is to get a monopod, and that will help you at least get enough support to stabilize your. There you go. Stabilize your image.
All the gear.
Yeah.
Didn't use this either.
The next question is around what program you guys use when you come to post-processing, and also there are quite a few people asking how much post-processing was involved in your favorite shots there. I know, Jan, you mentioned 4 hours on one, but on average?
No, that was 4 hours to capture it.
Oh,
there
4
was
hours
another,
to capture it.
there
sorry,
was another 2 hours. No, the thing is, brain is the best camera in the world, and your eyes are the best lens, at least the landscape lens. And the thing is, very often you have subject too dark and background too light. So if you should post-process only to make the background darker and the subject lighter, take out the shadows, you should do it, because that will elevate your pictures so much, many times. And I think if you're passionate about photography, just try to take some raw pictures. You have a setting when you can take raw and JPEGs, and play with all the pullers like shadows, highlights, clarity. Just play with it, because you will understand how the light works. And by understanding how the light works, you will actually get much better in photography instantly. And every professional photographer is post-processing and taking all the pictures in RAW. It is how it is. And I'm trying not to overmake it. But when I feel artish, when I feel a little bit artish, I'm putting more colors than they are actually in the nature. But yeah, that's my approach. But I'm trying to have pictures as I saw them.
Jan, whilst
Lightroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Whilst
maybe one mention. Lightroom now is what Photoshop was 20 years ago, because I know lots of our guests were using Photoshop before and they are still following, but Photoshop is very complicated tool for marketing, posters, etc. Lightroom is very, very easy. You can have it on the cell phone. And yeah. Ian, I think, knows about some
Ian, what do
other
you use?
options, and Verena as well.
First of all, I admit I do use Lightroom, but
Me too.
there are questions about the cost of it and the long-term subscription plan that Adobe now insist on. There are other products out there that are filling the market with one-off purchases. So programs like Affinity Photo Pro, which used to be named by Serif, and ON1 Photo Raw are two mid-range or mid-cost products that you buy once and you've got the license for life. And so they're probably worth looking at. The other thing, though, is quite often I'll copy pictures straight from the back of my camera using Wi-Fi onto the phone. And on the phone, editing JPEG, you've got free things like Google Photos there, which has got quite a lot of capability there. So I'll download pictures when I'm on the expedition onto my phone, and I can share on social media whilst we're still there, and then worry about the full processing and sorting later when I get home. But one piece of advice I would have is I never, ever delete any picture I've taken while I'm on the expedition, because you can't know whether or not you can rescue something until you get home and look at it on a big screen.
Good tip. Thank you, Ian. And Verena, what do you use?
I also use Lightroom.
Yeah.
Yes. And the more often you use it, the quicker you also get on developing and editing.
And I have to say that when I was talking about fast shutter speed, which sometimes bringing ISO higher, artificial intelligence in the new Lightroom now is denoising the picture so good. So you can actually have a faster shutter speed, higher aperture, and higher ISO, because you will press denoise and it will just clean your picture. So that's kind of thing. Because 5 years ago, ISO 1000 or 1600 was really a lot, but sometimes now I can shoot with 6000 ISO and I'm completely all right. Newer camera and denoise tool on Lightroom.
Conscious of time, we'll just go to our last couple of questions. So your polar bear shot from last week, and then the story around that was absolutely epic. There are questions around the lens that you used and whether you had a tripod or monopod.
The light was absolutely stunning, so I didn't need anything. The one from the top was captured with 70-200, as Verena was saying. In general, every brand 70-200 are very often very sharp and beautiful lenses, quite lightweight. So the upper one was 70-200, and those are 2 cups. I was trying to create like a 3D look because the ice flows were below the water and stuff like this. And the other polar bear was with 600 millimeters 1.4 extender, so it's 840 with the tripod. So longer you go, if you will have some power zooms, sometimes we have a guest with 1200 millimeters or 1500 millimeters. Longer you go, you actually need to stabilize your camera. If you kneel on the side of the ship and use the railing, that's a great thing. It's a stabilization as well.
Yeah.
But I'm conscious of time, so we're just going to go to our last question. Thank you, Jan.
More than welcome.
This is quite an interesting one for everybody to answer in turn, please. What's the difference between Arctic photography and Antarctic photography? And you know, what do you enjoy more about the contrast of the two, I guess, is the question there. So we go Verena first. Do you no? Ian, if you
Ian, you want to go first?
Okay,
good question,
this,
right?
this will be a short one though, because I'm afraid I have a very, very limited experience of going to the Arctic. Sorry.
I can take it. So the main difference is the distance. In Antarctica, you basically, I'm sometimes saying that Antarctica is cheap. I don't mean it bad, but Antarctica is absolutely exquisite, and you have a big amounts of animals quite close to you. And I'm sometimes comparing that Antarctica is like Beatles and Svalbard is like Pearl Jam. I love Svalbard and Greenland and Arctic because you are 1,000 kilometers from the North Pole and you can see grass and flowers and birds. That will never happen in Antarctica. So sometimes you have to dig a little bit more to understand and capture the beauty. But both of the destinations are absolutely stunning. And what I wanted to say, you need longer lens to capture fantastic wildlife in Arctic than in Antarctica.
Yeah. And another thing that you also exclusively get in the Arctic is all those native communities and Greenland, for example, the houses and the barren landscape with these gorgeous colored houses. So that is also unique to the Arctic.
Yeah, very good point, Verena.
Culture.
And also important always, like, be sure what kind of photos in this Inuit communities you can actually take. So
be respectful.
Be respectful. But
great. Yeah. We've massively run over as Tudor predicted, so I'll hand back to Tudor.
I shouldn't have said anything at the start, but Jan, Ian, Verena, thank you so much for sharing your top images and your tips. Absolutely incredible, and you know the story behind the pictures just bring it to life. Absolutely amazing. I'd also just like to thank Oscar, Saskia, George, Alice, Lee, and Karen, who've been in the background answering all your questions. Hopefully we got lots of those answered. And of course, thank you for attending and listening in. If you do come on board one of our trips with us, then you will have the likes of, you will have Jan's time if you're on MS Fram, Oscar, Armington and their colleagues to do tips and tricks in the field and share photography. So there's often the photographer groupies looking at photos every afternoon and evening, sharing their best shots. So a brilliant experience to share and discuss these things in depth. We, at the end of every webinar, we would like to have your feedback, and please do that. You will get a link at the end of this, so please give us your feedback. And I will leave it there, and we very much look forward to welcoming you on board, but very much for you to enjoy your experiences and have fun with the camera and get those memories not just in your head, but in a digital format as well, or printed. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.